This is a review of the Neumann MCM 114 clip-on microphone for acoustic guitar. We're going to keep this review really laid back, just like we're sitting in the room together talking about it. I'm going to walk you through everything. I'm going to show you the case. We're going to open it up, look at all the different pieces to the microphone. I'm going to clip it on, plug it in, do a little sound check, and I'll even get into some EQ settings. I have a lot of people ask me about this microphone after I started using it in my videos. And you know, when I was going to buy it, there are some reviews on YouTube, but there's not a whole lot. So I at least wanted to contribute my own experience with the microphone in case you're thinking of buying it. So let's hop right in. Let's talk about price first, I guess. So this is a $700 microphone. So you have to be really serious about wanting it. The reason I got it is because I do YouTube videos and I've already got one microphone here with a stand and it's sticking out and taking up space. And then for my acoustic guitar, I also wanted a nice clean sound. So I would have another microphone. There's a stand. I mean, I'm really cramped in with all the equipment. And so one thing this microphone did for me was it freed up a ton of space. And the other thing I love about it, and this is a big one, is that it is fantastic for rejection. So this microphone, or another one I use, is great about focusing on my voice and rejecting the guitar. And the Neumann MCM is fantastic about focusing only on the guitar, and it has crazy rejection of the voice. So each microphone can capture its intended instrument. The sound is nice and separate and clean, and I loved that. And obviously it's also great for, and really designed for, live application. We'll talk about that in just a sec. But let me jump in. Here's the case it comes in, and this case is beautiful. It's compact, it's nice quality. Go ahead and unzip it here so you can see the compartments inside. So you can see up top, there's kind of like a net. If you got any accessories you want to put in that. And then it's got all the placements for like the microphone itself and the clip and all that stuff. All right, so that's what the case looks like. I really like this. And let's talk about the XLR connector. So the next piece is going to be this part right here, okay? And your XLR is going to connect right into that. And I also got a nice little belt clip right here. And this is where we get into, obviously, like this microphone's meant for live playing. So you could clip that onto your belt and it's not going anywhere. And the other great thing is the top of this piece. So the top of this piece, actually, there's another part that screws onto that little metal part sticking up. And it just makes sure that the wire connection does not come loose. If you're moving around on stage, if the cord gets caught on something, it's really nice. So we've got that piece right there. And I'm actually going to go ahead and connect that. I'm just going to do this live here. So I got my XLR, just go ahead and plug that in. Goes in nice and easy to my XLR cable. Okay, and then the next thing you're gonna have is the microphone itself, but let's get to this part. So this is the end of the wire coming off the microphone. So you have this little piece right here. That is going to go into your XLR connection. Pop that in like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and screw this in to secure it. All right, so let me take that off in case I didn't show that clear enough. But this little part right here, that's the screw in. Okay, so let's go ahead and connect that in. I'm going to screw it in nice and secure. There we go. So that's not coming out. I mean, I could pull that like crazy. It ain't going anywhere. All right, and let's just keep working toward the microphone itself. Let's talk about the wire. So the wire, I believe, is made of Kevlar. So this thing is gonna look small, skinny, flimsy. Apparently you can tug on this thing like crazy and it's gonna hold. So it's not flimsy, but it is good that it's thin and light, because this thing is going to touch your body and you don't even notice it's there. The other good thing about it not being too thick is that when you do bump into it, it doesn't cause any noise in the microphone. I haven't heard that when I've listened back to my recordings. So that goes into this piece here. One thing you're going to have to do, this arm and this clip for the guitar are separate when you get it. So you're going to have to push this in. And it does take quite a bit of force the first time you do it because the parts aren't stretched out, but it gets easier. And I just found the sweet spot where I like it. And, you know, when I clip this onto the guitar, I have to do very minimal adjusting now, because I picked the right spot on the arm, on kind of like the boom arm, to push it into the clip. So you'll find that for your own purposes. And then once you clip it in, you don't really have to do it again. So, okay. So then we've got the boom arm itself, and this thing's really flexible. You can bend it and move it around wherever you want to. I'll just go ahead and do that while we're looking. So it's really easy, and it's really sturdy and strong. So wherever you bend and, you know, twist this thing, it's going to stay in place. It's high quality, as we would expect from Neumann. And before I get to the microphone itself, let's talk about the clip. So what you got here is a little piece on the bottom for your thumb. And then you've got two little pieces. Let's see if you can see those. I hope that's in focus. Yeah, for your two fingers right on the top. So I just put my thumb here on the bottom, and then I put my two fingers on that part, and I just squeeze it, and it opens up. And look at how the head of it is kind of flexible to take on to the shape of the guitar. And then you just release it when you put it on your acoustic guitar. It's just going to grab the body of the guitar. There it is, like that. There's kind of like the mouth grip. And this is going to go on the back of your guitar, and this will go on the front. I'll show you how to do that in a sec. All right, and then let's get to the microphone itself. Let's see if I can take this off here. Yeah. Okay, so there she is. That's the microphone. It's incredible how they fit all this technology into that little thing. Sorry if the focus is not great, but that's it right there. Now, one thing I noticed when I clipped this onto the guitar and I was talking during lessons or even breathing while playing, the breath from my nose was touching the guitar, and I could hear that on the recordings. So I just want to warn you about that. And the solution is this wind filter. I would actually recommend putting this on. I've seen a couple of reviews where they don't have it on, but that's my personal recommendation. The second I put this thing on, I felt like I was protecting the microphone from dust and all kinds of other stuff, but also it was taking care of that breathing problem being picked up. All right, so there's a little piece of advice. I've got this plugged into a Scarlett 2i2 interface today. And that has kind of like an auto gain thing. And I use the auto gain, and then I notch it up just a couple of dB beyond where the auto gain sets it, just to make sure I'm getting a nice strong signal. But let me grab my guitar, and I'm going to clip this thing on. So I'll put my guitar on like this. Here's another recommendation. You can clip it to the bottom of your guitar and the mic will come up and around that way. Or you can clip it to the top shoulder and it will come down and around to look at your neck. I recommend the top. And the reason is, you know, I play sitting down and I was bumping the microphone a lot when it was on the bottom shoulder. And I've just had better results with the top shoulder. That's up to you. I've seen a lot of pros using the bottom shoulder, but just sharing my experience today. So let's go ahead and clip it on. Oh, and one thing I forgot to tell you, this part right here, there's this little joint right here that you can adjust. And let me show you, like, see how the microphone is centered with the clip here? Well, you can twist this top part, and now look, it's off center. And that's actually hugely helpful. That gets it out of the way for your thumb and fingers to grab the clip. So I'll go ahead and clip it onto the top shoulder. And it's really helpful in positioning the microphone, getting it close to where you want it. So I've actually got it pretty close to where I want it. So I'm just going to kind of back it up a little bit here. Come back in. I like to point it at the 15th fret of the guitar, just straight on. And it's right in between the D and the G strings, give or take a little bit. That might look way off to you, but that's because the camera's a little high. When you make adjustments to the microphone, often the clip will slip a little bit. You'll lose the grip. So always recheck that the clip is grabbing the guitar. Early on, I had a couple of mishaps where the clip, was hanging by a thread and it came off the guitar and it snapped shut and the microphone went flying. Don't be like me. Just make sure you're constantly checking that grip that it has on the guitar. Make sure it's secure. It's an expensive microphone. Okay, just got a decent sound level. And this is with no reverb or anything like that. I just did a little EQ. And it's worth looking at the EQ. So I notch out the bass up to about 70 hertz. And then I do notch out a little bit of 100. And the reason I did that is because in the reviews I saw, they said this microphone can be a little bit strong in that area, a little too bassy, a little too boomy. So I do a really thin notch around 100 hertz. I do a little bit of a boost around 250 to 300. And then you'll see in the EQ, I've got a couple of wide boosts in some of the upper mid ranges, just to give it a little energy, air, life. And I do notch out, I think it's around 20K hertz, just to eliminate anything harsh. Now, I am not the greatest sound recording engineer, EQ artist. So if you've got better settings, let me know in the comments. I could use some tips. But that's generally what I do. And to my ear, it does clean up the sound nicely. When I hear recording of this guitar, the microphone just translates the sound of the guitar pretty much exactly what I'm hearing in the room, which I really like because a lot of other microphones don't do that. And I spend a lot of time EQing to try to get that. So let's do a little sound demonstration. I'll just kind of improvise a little bit of a riff so you can hear. So that's just about it. We went from box to demonstration. I love the microphone. I highly recommend it. It is expensive at that $700 price point, but if you get the scratch and you can afford it, I think it's a great option. It's freed up so much space, and there's something about it too. When I'm recording, I think the performances are a little more natural because I don't even notice the microphone on the guitar. When I have another microphone kind of pointed at me, I feel that pressure. You know, when you hit the record button and your playing just falls apart for whatever reason, it just adds to that. But with this thing just clipped onto the guitar, it's so comfortable, feels like a piece of the guitar, and I relax a lot more and just play better. So I've loved it for those reasons. If you're a live player, one thing I almost forgot to mention, the feedback rejection is incredible. Someone emailed me and asked me if I'm using like on-stage monitors, is there anything to worry about? No, because the monitors will be in front of you here and the microphone is pointing back. So the microphone's pointing away from the speakers. You have no chance of feedback in that case. And I will say the microphone, just like it rejects the voice, it is so focused on what's in front of it, and it really does a good job of rejecting everything else. I really don't think you're going to have feedback issues. That's part of the point of this microphone is to avoid that. So as an onstage microphone, I think this would be an awesome choice. I hate plugging in acoustic guitars. I cannot stand the sound of it. It's flat and papery and buzzy, and it just sounds awful. This would be a way better choice to grab one of these and plug into your board. I think you're going to like your live acoustic sound way better. So that's the Neumann MCM 114 acoustic guitar clip-on mic. I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope it was useful to you and get you closer to a decision either way. If you liked it or you have any other questions, please leave me a comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.